Hi, welcome to WGTP's product management sprint update for sprint ending August 17th. In this sprint, we completed plan management story. So this one is the ability to be able to transfer payments from one plan to another. We developed the ability to accept payments towards multiple plans, and we had a fair amount of bug fixes on payments, including mobile responsiveness, adding CSV downloads, adding the ability to have a formatted date on CSV downloads. And then additionally, there were other bugs that came up around refresh or total it's not working that we fixed in the sprint as well. We also finished the design on the notification management for upcoming payments. And this is really a key story that we want to develop because it will help increase the collections rate at our clients. So a lot of work on invoicing and payments, and in the coming sprint, actually, we still have some work left to do, but we're starting to make big strides in the payment space. And coming to the end of the key stories that we need to finish to wrap up that this module for now. On the second area of focus, guard flows and updates, we designed the registration and entry of upcoming visits. So this is the ability for a resident or administrator to be able to create multiple visits or with certain frequency for either a group of people or for an individual. So we're going to start development on that as well. The other epic that is really important is customs forms and submission. Customs form submission to report generation. So this is the ability for customs officer to submit a customs form with the required documentation, and for the administrator of the city to be able to generate a report on the number of hours that the customs manager officer has worked. We have developed the initial customs form and the initial report and received feedback on it. And really the focus is building, getting usage from the customs officer on submitting the first few entries through our application in this coming sprint now. The other major epic, high priority epic, is business registration. So business registration is the ability to submit a form and then generate a contract and a business registration actually number based on that contract. But we're starting with the initial phase of just submitting a business registry form and then generating a contract based on that form. And this is the most important use case because right now the team spends 2 to 3 hours filling out the contract once they receive the form, and it's a very manually intensive process. So we are hoping that we can add a lot of value by addressing this initial use case. There was also work that we did on the panic button. This was a big commitment that we had in the sprint, and then in this quarter, it was a product priority, but we hadn't received on the ground demand, so we hadn't started working on it. But recently, with the residents, the number of residents increasing and new residents moving in, there was asked for an emergency SOS button, and we've implemented the first part of it, which is having a panic button on the app for residents, and that alerts the safety team through an SMS. And we're going to continue to build out on it in future sprints, but this was the initial value add that we wanted to provide, that someone is able to alert a safety team through a single button. That's all the work that we have done in the sprint. My focus was very much leading on payments and customs, but I've started to do some work on our product processes as well as our product roadmap and the product operations dashboard. Unfortunately, my big focus on the sprint was there were a number of bugs that had come up for gate access and payments. So I wanted to focus on getting us back on track with those two things. And overall, a very successful sprint, and we've delivered a lot of major stories and hope to continue this momentum in the following sprint. So a few numbers to share. On payments, we have 7 payments added during the sprint, and the team is continuing to use the product and really continuing to give us feedback. And there haven't been since last week, there were no new issues reported this week since we launched the last few fixes. We are hoping that with the notifications process and the plan management process, the team will have a lot of value added in the product, and they'll continue to use the payments as their primary system for recording payments. On gate access and adoption, as I mentioned earlier, at the beginning of the sprint, it seemed to have regressed significantly, and it had regressed in the last sprint. And then because their data plan had expired on the phone, and there were some process issues that we ran into, because of which the gate entries of Ciudad Morazan were fairly low. We solved that data plan issue. However, we noticed that the entries continued to be low, and on further analysis found that there were 2 issues that were happening around the translations within the app that was causing the gate flow to error out. This was at the beginning of the sprint that we noticed this, and resolved that, worked with the team on the ground to resolve it. Luckily, actually, the guard had found a workaround in terms of how, despite the bugs, the guard had found a workaround on being able to log the entries. So we were actually able to create the full set of logs just from the data that we had. So since August 4th, we've had 227 payments, and we are actually back on track with the product. For the upcoming sprint, our focus is on in invoicing and payments, card flows, forms and workflows, business registry. Within that invoice and payments, we are hoping to launch the notification for upcoming payments and finish up the work that is left on plan management and renewals. On the guard flow updates, we are going to finalize or start the development on the registration and entry of upcoming visits, so improving the process around that. And then on the forms, customs form, going to start on the adoption, focusing on the adoption, so that the officer actually starts to use the form. And we have a training, we're hoping to organize a training for it by August 25th. On business registry, we are planning to demo the first use case to Ciudad Morazan in our weekly implementation meeting, and then continuing to work on some task management and navigation and map stories. My highest priority for this sprint is, if I had to pick one, would be getting the customs form submission adoption by the customs officer. And I will be working very closely with Gabrielle, who's our new CSM on the ground, to get that rolled out. That's all from me. Talk to you soon.